Going live. Preparing, setting up, preparing. Okay, we are live. Good morning, everybody. It is our 10 o'clock on Thursday Journey to Wellness Gut and Health series. I'm Gina Anderson, natural health practitioner. Okay, we are live. Good morning, everybody. It's our 10 o'clock on Thursday. What's going on, Jackie? Journey to Wellness Gut and Health series. I'm Gina Anderson, natural health practitioner. That was hilarious. Okay, let's start again. So I pushed the play on the thing over there. Oh boy, I'm so bad with technical stuff. Let me tell you. Okay, so we're this is our live 10 o'clock on Thursday mornings series on gut health. And this is our third session for gut health and our final session for gut health. And then we're going to move into another subject in the coming weeks. So I'm Gina Anderson, natural health practitioner, not so good at technical stuff. That's me. This is Jackie. I'll let her introduce herself.
Thanks, Gina. I'm Jacqueline Pointer, and I am a certified health coach and a nutritional health practitioner as well. And I help women who have struggled with lifelong weight issues. So we are going to talk about the journey to wellness, our gut health series, and we'll get started with the agenda. So here's what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about the gut and the brain connection. We're going to talk about the impact of stress on digestive wellness. We're going to talk about the link between the hormones and gut health, the connection between thyroid and gut health, the impact of gut imbalances on blood sugar and obesity. We're going to talk about dietary and lifestyle modifications that support a healthy gut. And then finally, we're going to talk about Ayurvedic and alternative principles and how they can support healthy digestion. So we've got a lot to talk about, a lot to cover. So I'm going to turn it over to Gina to go ahead and get started on the gut-brain connection.
Okay, so just as a reminder from last time, the last couple times we've been talking about what the gut really is. It's like our second brain. It's the first response to nearly everything, and so it's very, very, very vital to every single organ and every single system in our body. I wanted to remind everybody of that, and that it affects our life, our marriage, our parenting, how we live our everyday home stuff, spiritual, social, and our outlook. Our mental outlook. The gut affects every single one of those things. So I wanted to remind everybody of that. There's a whole lot of good study about the gut in the Bible. And I wanted to remind everybody that that would be a very good study. If you would like to have that study, I have a complete study on, it's not gut health in the Bible, but it's health and wellness Bible study with loads and loads of scriptures and lots of stuff. So I can send that to people by request. If you have any questions, just stick it on the live chat on Rumble there, and I'll be watching that, and we can address those questions and comments if there are any. So the brain connection. A lot of times we think that our brain is like the number one thing that when something happens, good or bad, happy or sad, scary or not, exciting, passionate, all that kind of stuff, that it's our brain that connects first, but it's really our gut that connects first. And in my opinion, I believe that the gut is like the voice of God. It's like the gut feeling. It's that first thing, that first thought that comes to your mind. So you get the flutters, or you get whatever feeling in your stomach first. Now, there's stuff going back and forth from the brain to the body all the time. It never stops. And so that's your nervous system. And so that connection makes it feel as though everything's coming from your head. However, all the emotions are in your gut. So the emotions don't sit in the mind. The emotions actually sit down in your gut area, in your core. And so that's another reason why the gut is affected first when you have an emotional reaction of any kind. There's 1 million nerve cells. These are some interesting facts that I found. That's pretty cool. I've had these papers for a long time. I have them in a notebook when I teach other classes. So there's 100 million nerve cells in the gut. So that's actually more than what's in our skin and other areas, other systems of our body. And so that was pretty neat. Like I said, they call it the second brain. From top down, it's you've got your brain to your gut. Emotions influence the function of your gut. And bottom up, from the bottom up, the gut sends messages to the brain to influence our physical and mental well-being. So right away, when a baby is conceived, this is like at conception, so it's, doesn't have all the body parts necessarily. At conception, the gut-brain connection begins. So a lot of people don't think about that. The gut is usually the first thing formed, the heart, and then the heart. So there's another biblical reference, in my opinion. It says that your heart follows. It says to guard your heart because the other stuff comes first. So I thought that was pretty interesting. The scientific, not just biblical, it's scientific, backing up the Bible. So then your gut actually weighs more than your brain. And then this is pretty cool. 70% of our immune cells are located in your gut. So 70% of our immunity is in our gut. So when we talk about later on, when Jackie gets into the dietary stuff, the supplementation and stuff like that, that's going to help keep that immune system up. You're actually protecting your gut more than anything, 70%. 90% of serotonin, the feel-good hormone, is secreted in the gut. I'm going to segue into the hormone stuff in just a second. So this is, before I go into the hormone stuff, the gut surface area is 50 square meters. So it's more than, it says the skin is only 2 square meters. So a lot of people think the skin is like the largest, it is the largest organ, but it doesn't cover the most area. Our gut actually does. And remember, our gut includes our small and large intestine, our stomach, our spleen, gallbladder. Help me there, Jackie. There's a whole and our brain. Our brain is part of the gut system. So so there's a lot of things that are included in the gut, in that it's not just stomach or whatever a lot of people think. So into the hormones, says 90% of our serotonin or feel-good hormone is secreted in the gut. 90% of the feel-good hormone. So what did I just say a while ago when I said that the emotions are down there in the gut? The emotions sit there. The place for them is there. So 90% of anything, that feel-good, whatever you take in, the sunshine is a feel-good thing. I told a client this week that was feeling kind of down. I was like, get out in the sun because it was cloudy for a few days. And then we had some sun for a couple of days, beautiful days this past week. And I said, just get out there in the sun a couple times the rest of the day. Just go out there for 5 minutes, come back in, go out there again, and if you have to, work in your office, fine, but get out in the sun and just sit there in the sun. That sun provides that feel-good hormone. The sun provides a whole bunch of things that people don't realize. It's very nutritious, the sun is. So let's see. So that feel-good hormone, that's one of the most important. hormones that we need to keep from being depressed, to keep our body from our other organs and our other organ systems, our muscles, muscular system, nervous system, all those other systems to working. That feel good hormone is really, really important. And then of course the thyroid and the adrenals. So the adrenals are the main thing that connects the hormones. And so I'm going to talk just a little tiny bit of here about the adrenals, and then I'm going to let Jackie take over for the thyroid, because they all like work as one unit. The adrenals and the thyroid work like one unit. If the adrenals are down, then the thyroid's down. Or up. Could be overworking. If the adrenals are overworking, the thyroid is overworking. And Jackie and I deal with that a lot. I deal with it daily with clients with hair analysis tests and test their minerals. So when your minerals are in balance, your nutrients are in balance, and they're well managed, you can have blips every now and then, and it's okay. Your body can handle that. But if it's constant mismanagement of your minerals and nutrients coming into your body, then then your gut is weakened, the lining is weakened, and all that kind of stuff. And we talked about that last time. And then your hormones just go crazy. So they'll either start, their adrenals start overworking, or your adrenals start depressing. Either way, it's going to cause the thyroid to overwork or underwork, and then that affects your gut big time. Of course, a lot of people understand this. So I before Jackie starts speaking, we're just going to point one thing out. Doctors will say, hey, take this thyroid medicine. They call it medicine or whatever, but they'll give you thyroid, whether it's man-made synthetic thyroid or natural thyroid, it doesn't really matter. You don't need thyroid to make your thyroid work. That actually makes it go into the other extreme. Whichever extreme it's in, you take in thyroid medications or whatever, and then it's going to make it flip to the other side. And I've watched that happen. You have to work with your minerals and nutrients, and you have to get your gut, your large intestines and your small intestines strong again, and your stomach strong again, and on the enzymes and all that strong again, in order to make those adrenals work. The adrenals are what's going to make the thyroid produce. And it's actually impossible. So I don't know if Jackie's going to point this out, but it's impossible, nearly impossible, not completely, but nearly impossible for the thyroid to completely stop making. If your thyroid scientifically stops working, you lose oxygen. And I've learned this through experience. My daughter has learned this through experience. This COVID thing, a lot of people had thyroid issues because their oxygen dropped, because it hit people's lungs, and then the gut weakened and the immune system went down. And oxygen runs the thyroid. So you would lose oxygen. In other words, your thyroid just completely stops. So doctors will tell people this, oh, your thyroid's not making any thyroid anymore. I haven't seen that be true yet. So far, when I've had people go test, they do hormone tests through saliva testing and through the hair analysis mineral testing, and the thyroid's always making something. So I just wanted to point that out. Go ahead, Jackie.
Okay. Yes, thank you, Gina, for that. I agree with everything that you said, and the fact that I've had my own thyroid issues, a big 4-millimeter thyroid, it was swollen, and when I began taking care of my adrenals, it affected my thyroid, and now is at a regular size, a normal size. And really, it is what Gina said about getting your nutrients and your minerals in balance in order to get your thyroid in balance. Because again, as she said, the thyroid is involved in so many things. It's involved in your blood pressure regulation. It's involved in your body temperature, your breathing, your oxygen. your cholesterol levels, your heart rate, your detoxification, immune function, your sleep rhythms, your muscle strength,
Mhm.
all of those things the thyroid is involved in. And chronic inflammation in the gut causes cortisol levels to rise, and then it decreases your thyroid hormone production,
Mhm. Causes
which,
depression and all that stuff too.
and it can lead to the autoimmune diseases
Mhm.
and the hypothyroidism.
Yep,
So
and Alzheimer's.
all of those things. The thing about when you're getting your thyroid tested, you want to ask for a full panel on your thyroid test, because they'll go in and they'll test the T3, they'll test the T4, but they'll come back and say there's really nothing wrong, or your thyroid is fine.
Mhm.
But what happens is they don't get a full panel test, which includes all of the functioning of your thyroid. So if you are a person that you've got thyroid issues and you go into the doctor to get test, make sure that you ask for a full panel.
And the best way to test that, and all doctors can do this, you just need to request and kind of push it a little bit sometimes, is the saliva testing is much more accurate.
Yeah.
Then you get your serotonin and your T1, which they always forget.
Right, right. Good point. So the good news is that there are some diet and lifestyle changes that you can make that will help improve your thyroid and your gut health. And we're going to go over some of those in the next couple of slides. So let's talk about the impact.
Hold just a second.
Oh, go ahead.
So Jackie, the slides have not been sliding through.
Oh,
I haven't seen them change.
okay.
I just wanted to pause for a moment because the slides have not been changing on my end. Have they been changing on your end?
They have been changing on my end, so that's interesting. Are they changing now? Can you see it now?
No.
Okay.
Last time you did something and they weren't changing on my end, and then all of a sudden you did something and they did. So I'm not sure that people have been seeing the slides. And so I wanted to pause for a moment and make sure that we have those slides going.
That's unfortunate. Okay, let me stop sharing, and
I'm sorry to stop in the middle of all that because it was going so well, but I wanted to make sure, because I was watching over here and then I noticed that. I should have noticed just watching my papers instead of that.
So tell me if you can see this.
No, I'm not seeing the slides move.
How about
And it's
now?
okay. So let's just keep on going, and we won't, it's okay that we don't have those going anyway, but you just keep moving through them.
Okay.
And then we'll figure out what happened later.
Okay, and we may just want to attach the PowerPoint to the
right, we can attach
Rumble.
that so that people can have the PowerPoint
Yep.
if they watch it again later. Yeah.
Right. Okay, so let's talk about blood sugar and obesity. I believe that's where we were. So an altered microbiota can increase intestinal permeability, which, as you'll remember, that's extra zonulin protein that gets into your gut lining, and it can lead to an increase in insulin resistance. And blood sugar and obesity can impact the gut and vice versa. The gut can impact your blood sugar and your obesity. So I've included some ways to improve your blood sugar. You want to consume meals at regular times that will help to manage your stress levels. And something that's worked for most people is eating every 3 to 4 hours so that your blood sugar remains stable. The ideal food combination is always a protein, a fat, and a fiber-rich carbohydrate source for each of your meals, not leaving out any of those important macronutrients. And then you want to be sure to consume omega-3 fatty acids. And these are foods like eggs, flax seeds, oily fish like wild-caught salmon, and walnuts. Another thing you want to do to help with blood sugar is to include magnesium-containing foods in your diet. And these foods are things like nuts, almonds, Brazil nuts, cashews, pecans, avocados, black beans, bananas, dark leafy greens, and pumpkin and sunflower seeds. So just some magnesium-containing foods that will help to increase to improve your blood sugar. Some foods that will help heal insulin resistance include things like algae and seaweed, avocados, basil, blueberries, broccoli, cabbage, cinnamon, cucumbers, garlic, ginger, greens, onions, and turmeric. Anything else you want to add about that, Gina? Anything about the blood sugar?
No, I mean, that was pretty good. Notice how a lot of those things are also high protein. And a lot of times that I work with clients with their thyroid issues, I make sure their protein goes up. And on our hair analysis tests, we notice that'll be on the report. It'll say you need more protein if the person has a lot of thyroid issue patterns. And protein is going to help run that stuff, but protein also it's going to run your lymph, which is going to wash out the bad stuff. So a lot of the foods you just read, and also iron is very key to the thyroid. If your iron is down, and then your thyroid is definitely going to be not functioning well. So that's very, very important. Yes, so a lot of what you read, all those lists that were very high protein and high iron foods.
So what's interesting is that just about every hair analysis that I have done on my clients, most of them say not eating enough protein, need more protein. And protein has all of the essential amino acids. And so you really want to make sure that you get your protein sources.
Yeah, and I always found that interesting because I don't know where the data comes from, but data always shows, American SAD diet is like meat and potatoes, right? And so and you'd think that we would see people eating loads and loads of meat, but I don't either. And I've had hundreds of clients now with these tests and over the years, and meat is like, I don't eat a lot of meat. Oh, I don't eat, it's like a common thing, even the men will say. And I find that interesting because in our society, meat is a thing. And so, but we got it. I mean, it's not just meat is not the only protein. She read broccoli and stuff like that. It has more calcium than milk. So there's a lot of vegetables that have even more iron and protein sometimes than meat, but the point is that people they don't have enough. And our lymph system goes right along with our gut system. When our gut system is leaky, when it's weak and things are getting through, it's the large proteins that are actually getting through. And those large proteins, if they are seeping out, they're not getting into the lymph and getting carried out of the body and breaking down. Instead, they're going into other organs and places where they shouldn't be and causing havoc.
Right.
So the gut is super important to keeping all that together.
Yeah. So I wanted to talk a bit about healthy eating habits and increasing your physical activity because they have a significant effect on your gut microbiome. And gut microbes play a role in many factors that affect an individual's weight. So I want to give you some strategies to support your gut health and weight loss. So research has been done, and it's been found that those who are obese have less bacterial diversity in their gut, and they have more firmicutes, which are a type of bacteria that can negatively affect fat and glucose metabolism. So the differences in gut microbes can affect many factors of an individual's weight, such as food cravings. If you have those types of bacteria in your gut, it can increase your food cravings. It can affect your hormones and your metabolism. It slows down your metabolism. So it can also influence your taste receptors and cause you to have more cravings for sugar, more cravings for salty things like chips and things that aren't so great for us. So there is something to be said about what's going on in your gut and your weight. It can also influence the leptin, which is a hormone that signals the fullness in your body, and it alters your appetite. So it can make you feel like you're hungry all the time. So it's so important to clean up your gut and to heal your gut so that it will automatically take care of the extra weight that you're carrying. So here's some things that you can do to nourish beneficial gut bacteria or microbes so that you can support your gut and lose weight. You want to cut out highly overprocessed foods, those foods that are high fat and overly processed. You want to increase the diversity of your fruits and vegetables so that you're getting in all the vitamins and minerals that your body needs. And you want to eat more polyphenols. And polyphenols are plant-based foods. They enhance your health. They include things to protect your heart and also have anti-cancer benefits. And then you want to choose heart healthy fats. And these are fats like fatty fish, such as salmon. You want to include avocados, oils like avocado oil, and then nuts and seeds. And then like we've talked about before, you want to include prebiotics and probiotics in your diet regularly. Anything that you want to include in that, Gina?
You've already kind of mentioned this, like a nutrient dense foods, a variety, but you've had a good list of that, like fish and berries, that's nutrient variety. That's a good variety, and avocados are not bad for people. A lot of people want to think that, but if you had an avocado every day, that's really, really good for your gut, and it's actually good for weight loss,
right?
More than people think. And I don't know, there's we didn't really bring out, but on the hormone aspect, the cycles, women's cycles, men also have cycles. They just don't have them the same as women. And so I've noticed those patterns over the years also, and I didn't realize how dominant they were, but there are cycles that men go through in a month or two, a month's time also. And it's interesting to really tune into that and learn about that. But with women, for sure, different phases of your cycle is going to cause you to have different hormone levels. And so you have to really tune into eating, having more iron foods closer to the beginning of your cycle and things like that. So I was going to bring that in on the hormone aspect a little bit, I guess, that a lot of people they'll just eat the same all the time, when you actually have to manage your eating. you'll feel better during your cycle times if you've got more of the foods that are going to help you in those times. So, higher iron and higher protein foods help you get through that without, it actually cuts down on the cramping and things like that. So, otherwise, I think you did pretty good.
Okay.
I know it's not food, but you've got things like scents and chemicals, cleaning chemicals and stuff coming off the computer, stuff like that really goes into our gut more than we think. And it affects our hormones, it affects all of this stuff. But those things are important to tune into and change to more natural cleaners, try to put screens on your computers, and get up and go outside and get some fresh air every now and then if you have an office job, things like that. And then we didn't talk about this. Oh, we're going to go into the stress factor in a minute.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
So I wanted to point out really quickly, I had mentioned increasing physical activity levels, which is huge for the gut. And what I want to say is it's recommended that you do about 150 hours of physical activity per week, which is only 30 minutes per day. And one of the best ways that I've found to get in physical activity is simply walking for 30 minutes per day outside. That has certainly helped me. But if you can get that 30 minutes per day, at least starting out, that will certainly help. And the other thing I wanted to mention that affects our gut is be mindful of taking antibiotics, because they can disrupt the gut microbiome and it can lead to a loss of beneficial gut bacteria. I know there are times where you need to take an antibiotic, but doing that on a regular basis can really destroy the gut.
Yeah, they really are overused, and that's why they don't work as well a lot of times for some people. They don't work, and they have to get really strong ones, because they've used them so much for things that they don't even use for. But the natural antibiotics are garlic and ginger and
onions.
Those are natural antibiotics, and those things really work. Also oregano, basil, all that stuff. And you can get that into you right into your gut immediately with an oil. Sticking an oil on your skin goes straight in, and it's immediate. And then, or internally, just get it in there.
Right. So let's talk about dietary and lifestyle modifications that will help improve your brain and your gut health. Things like breath work, yoga, acupuncture, singing or humming, getting consistent exercise like we talked about, prioritizing your sleep, 7 to 8 hours of sleep each night. And then, as Gina mentioned earlier, reducing your toxin exposure. So toxin can be found in certain foods. It can be found in cleaning supplies, our chlorinated or unfiltered water, including drinking water. It can be found in beauty products, pesticides, and other industrial chemicals. And then when you're overexposed to toxins, your body can mistake them for iodine and selenium, which causes them to collect in the thyroid gland. So another thing about the thyroid, and really trying to
the gut,
keep it healthy, it's linked to the gut. Absolutely. So here's some detoxifying foods. You can try lemons, blueberries, medicinal mushrooms, garlic, beetroot, and some of the other things that Gina mentioned. Another way to get out the toxins is to sweat it out, do exercise, or go to the sauna or a steam bath. Anything else you want to add about those things, Gina?
Well, with the exercise, let's just say, give people a little bit of help with that. So you did like 5 to 10 minutes, you can get up, like I was saying, if you get up and you do 5 minutes of stretching, squats, If you have an office desk, this is people who like are inside all day or something because they work in an office or something like that, or you're just inside, and get up and stretch and do some squats. Okay. So then, and 2 hours later, you do it again. By the end of your 8-hour workday or whatever it is, you're going to have your 30 minutes. You don't have to do it all at once. So I wanted to say that also. So that kind of stuff, just it can add up.
That's a great point. So I want to talk about some supplements that support your digestion. So you have digestive enzymes, betaine, HCl, or pepsin, and this helps to increase the hydrochloric acid that's in your stomach to help you break down food. That's your stomach acid. There's digestive bitters, and these are things like dandelion root, and it helps to stimulate the body's natural digestive juices, and it helps to produce that stomach acid that we need.
On the enzymes, you got your prolase, your myelase, and your amylase also. Those are super important. Those are all part of the enzymes that break things down. So the others, like the acid, that it's not really the same as, you got your alkaline and your acid foods, but the HCl acid is not really an acid like that. It's just an enzyme. So anyway, I wanted to add those in. There's more than just those enzymes.
Right. So ox bile is another one that aids in proper digestion of fat, and it supports nutrient absorption. And a lot of times it's recommended for people who no longer have their gallbladder. So it helps them to break down those high fat foods and support the gut. There's also psyllium husk, which helps with constipation and makes the stool easier to pass. And
don't take that very often. Just take it needed.
Yeah, and what I was going to say with psyllium husk is make sure you drink a lot of water.
That's right, because it really does work.
Yeah. Some supplements that support a healthy gut flora include fish oil, some prebiotics, again, psyllium husk, probiotics, and a vitamin D. Anything else you want to talk about for that?
I would just try to get your vitamin D as much as possible from the sun, and not supplementation. A lot of times, especially if you have calcium and magnesium ratio issues, you can't take vitamin D supplementation because it'll antagonize that stuff and it'll make it worse. So vitamin D is something that should be very taken in care and well managed if you take it as a supplement. Really should get that from food, greens, and outside. So yeah, it's important. The gut will take it in better and digest vitamin D better if it's taken in that way also. So all right, go on. I don't know.
Okay. Supplements that nourish the gut lining, L-glutamine. And this is an amino acid that helps repair your gut. And MSM, it's a sulfur, an active sulfur that helps reduce inflammation and helps to rebuild the gut tissue. MSM is methyl sulfonamide methane. Yeah. So we refer to it as MSM.
And it's very good for taking away scar tissue.
Okay. And then there's mucilaginous herbs, and these are things that help with inflammation of the digestive tract. They help move things through and soothe irritation. And it includes herbs like slippery elm, aloe vera, marshmallow root, and plantain. And then, of course, magnesium, which helps with detoxification. Anything you want to say about those, Gina?
No, I was looking over to see if there was any comments over there on, keep on going.
Okay. So next we're going to move into Ayurvedic. I'm not sure why I can't pronounce that word, and other principles. And Gina, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Okay, hold on. I'm getting doing a comment. All right, so there's so many things we have to manage and not allow stress to overwhelm us. Stress alone, I know this from personal experience, stress alone can cause an allergic reaction to a food, cause an allergic reaction, period. You can actually have allergic reactions from stress alone and not it be any particular thing. And so stress needs to be managed. And so she has that list of, sorry, it's not coming up. I'm not sure why the slides are not showing. But anyway, but stretching is really, really important. She mentioned yoga, which is stretching. Yoga is stretch. That's all it means. And so stretching is very, very important. And I don't mean just, oh, and then stretch and then go back to work. That's not stretching. What I mean is taking 10 minutes or something or more and just stretching every part of your body out. Stretch your hands, like stretch your fingers. All that stretching does is lengthen things so that it doesn't ball up, and when it's shortened, it's balled up. So stretching your core is super, super important. You can even put your hands on your stomach and stretch your spine, like shoot it up toward the sky, and press downward on your stomach and your gut area there. And that's a resistance. So you've got one thing going one way and one thing going the other way. And that helps your gut to stay. The older people get, there's a twisting that'll happen. And a lot of times, a lot of problems in the gut for older people over 60 and 70 years old are things that get short. Because we get shorter, we shrink, everything shrinks down, and then twisting can happen and things like that, and scrunching up. And that's how come older people have more constipation and issues like that. So stretching is important for that gut, and it'll keep things well. Getting outside is another thing. Just get outside. What were some of the other things
So I talked about aptogenic herbs,
yes, I mean, there's herbs and oils, but when you were talking about, you had several things on the list that were, because I can't see the slide, so that were related to the exercise and the stretching and things like that, stress release.
So body work, including chiropractic, cupping, reflexology.
So you did have that on the list. So okay, so I was going to say, find a really good massage therapist, find a really good and do it regularly. Every other month is really, really good to do. A lot of people do every month. It just depends on you and your lifestyle and your budget, but it's super, super good for the body to do that kind of thing. It's stress relieving, keeps things stretched out. You've got to find, the whole point to this is we could go on and on and on with all the things that could be stress relieving. And I could list herb after herb after herb, but each person has to individually find what works for you. And it's okay to experiment and play with these things. So try stretching for 5 to 7 days and taking holy basil for your for your stress. Holy basil calms the gut lining, calms the thyroid, calms the hormones. It's very calming to the system. When the system is calmed, so you can try some combinations of things. If that doesn't, and try it you have to do it 5 to 7 days. You got to do an extended time to find a pattern. And then try something else for another 5 to 7 days, something completely different. And then you could even try a third thing. And then you'll find, oh, this worked really well for me. drinking tea was better for me than taking a capsule, or chamomile tea helps me sleep better. For me personally, I can't do that. It doesn't do anything for me. I have to do peppermint tea. So there's just, when you look these things up and you find all your lists of stress relieving things, just pick one or two to try. Don't overwhelm yourself with a whole bunch of things. Just pick a couple. So like I said, you can try your stretching, or sign up for, if you have time and the budget for it, sign up for a yoga class, or a light, I don't know, what do you call it? There's, it's a calisthenic, but it's like at the gym, and they'll have like low impact
Like
exercise,
a bar class.
like a bar class or something, like, right, low impact stuff. That is really stress relieving, way more. Plus you're building a little strength and a little core and a little thing, the other really, really important thing is keeping that core strong. If your core is strong and toned, it's going to be healthier. So there's just so many aspects to the gut that we just don't even have time to go into. But these things are super, super important. But stress, I can't even reiterate 100 times over how important it is to get your stress in management. And part of that is getting your adrenals in order. When your adrenals are well managed through your minerals and your nutrients, like we've already talked about, that relieves your stress a whole lot. And it relieves depression in the body, which then doesn't manifest outwardly. Depression always begins internally first before it manifests outwardly. And so getting that internal stuff will do like 50% of the work for your stress. And then all you have to do is add in 15 minutes a day or something of deep breathing. Oh man, deep breathing helps me a lot. I do it every day. But you find what works for you and then stay real consistent with it. And that's the most important key, I think. Did I leave anything out?
No, you didn't. And I would agree, consistency is the key in all of those things. I wanted to mention really quick, there are essential oils that will help with your gut health. And this is another tool that you can use. But
yeah, I should have said that, but I was like, I was on a roll there.
Yeah, some of the more important essential oils for gut health include ginger, peppermint, lemon, rosemary, fennel, and
Clove.
clove. And you really want to put them with a carrier oil if you're going to put them on your body. So something like coconut or grapeseed oil. Otherwise, you can put them in for aromatherapy, which is amazing.
Right. Yeah, in a diffuser. And holy basil oil is really amazing too. For if you want a calming thing, holy basil is very good. And tansy. Tansy is a little more expensive no matter what brand you get, because it's just one of those more expensive oils, but it is super good for hormonal management and calming. And so there's a lot of really good oils out there. Feel good oils. Orange and citrus, orange, grapefruit, lemon.
Yeah.
Orange is the top one, but all the citrus and trees, pine, cypress,
Cedarwood.
tree oils, cedar creed, arborvitae, all those oils that are trees are good for pain management. They're just good for pain, but they're also very good for feel good. So you can mix orange and pine and have this amazing, it'll lift you up. I'm like, I put it in my diffuser at work. I'll put orange oil on when I'm feeling a little down. And it really does lift. It's not all in your head. It really does work. And so, And then if you want to, help with sleep, sage oil. Sage oil is the top sleep oil of all oils. A lot of people will go straight to like lavender or something, but sage will help you sleep. And sleep is something we never got into, but sleep is so important for the gut. It's like one of the, I would say, if not number one, number two, good sleep habits and good sleep is super important for the gut, because the gut works when we're asleep. And when we're sleeping well, our gut is healing and working. It's like working more when we're asleep than when we're awake. And so it's healing and building and doing all that stuff that you put in all day to help it heal. It does it when you're asleep. So if you're not getting good sleep, you're tossing and turning all night and stuff like that, then you're not really helping your gut heal. And then it has no time to heal when it has to digest all day. So it's one of those things.
We could go on and on. Yes.
Yeah, we could, but we have like well over,
yes,
we've spent a lot of time, but this is an important subject. And I hope that we helped a lot of people learn a lot of new things that maybe they hadn't thought of before. And please share this with people, share the link. We've got it on our Facebook and our web pages, and I'm sticking it. We have a channel on YouTube. Look for Journey to Wellness on YouTube with Jackie and Gina. You're gonna, we got a channel going there. There's lots of ways you can share this, and please share this stuff.
Yep. So in our second series, I want to talk about what we're going to talk about next time. Our second series is on stress and anxiety, which will include things like emotional eating. It'll include adrenal health and fatigue and physical manifestations of those things. So you don't want to miss our second series. We're typically here at 10 a.m. on Thursdays, and we will see you next time. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.